What's up everyone, it's Iskander here. Welcome back to Tech Policy channel for tech news and crypto investment. In this urgent video update, we're going to look at the recent Kaspa pump. We're going to look at a few other trades like WIF and SUI, and we're going to look at next altcoin setups. So what's going to run next? As always, anything we say in this video is not financial advice and for education and entertainment purposes. Don't forget to hit subscribe and like this video. You can join our free Discord group via the attached link. So firstly, looking at the crypto bubbles, we can see memes are running hard, and really what instigated this pump is Bitcoin, as always. So Trump posted an update on X and made an announcement that tariffs for China have been dropped significantly from, I think, 150% to about 30% for the next 60 to 90 days. And as soon as that was announced, Bitcoin basically went straight up to about 105.8, and then it got smacked down below that. So if we just, let's take a zoom into that and see what actually happened there. Let's do a quick reload. So we're just on a daily. Let's bring that down to hourly. Yeah, so we can see it's showing some serious bullish momentum there. Typically when you see this type of compression, it just keeps going up from there. We're only like 3% from all-time high, so it only takes a small candle to push us above what is that, 108, 109, and then we're setting all-time highs again in price discovery. So I think we're going to maintain this bullish momentum. It is the bull moon, it's the full moon, so usually we see a pump into the bull moon, and then in another sort of another 30 days, and when the bear moon comes, then it dumps again, right? So it's sort of correlated in some cases. All right, so let's look at what actually happened, how our trades went. So just on yesterday's video, I posted an update basically saying that this was a perfect setup here on Kaspa. We've had, let me just clear this out. So yeah, we can see head and shoulders, here, and then here, and then sort of broke the neckline over here, and then that's when it started going. So I think we may get to, I think we hit roughly 13 cents. We may take a bit of a pause. It'll probably look similar to the Bitcoin chart in terms of what's happening here. So we'll take a bit of a breather, and then that's going to be the next staircase, and then we'll keep going from there to probably about 15 cents and then 16 cents. So we've got our trade running. So if I just bring that up, 179% from 10 cents to about 13 cents. So it's not too bad on a 10x long. And that, so I've taken some of the profit, I think 50% of the profit, and the rest of it is still running, and I'll continue taking profit on the way up. That's just a safe thing to do. As far as WIF, that was an incredible run. So you can see, I'll just quickly jump into WIF, see what's happened here, right? So our entry was around about, we're looking at WIF. Yeah, let's just refresh this. Here we go. So it was at 89 at this point, right? Just 12 hours or so. That's where I set the long, and it, within just a few hours, it went up 47%, right? So that's incredible for a large market cap like WIF. There's still a lot of the ground to cover, up there. That's another 300%. So if I'm gonna leave the long running, hopefully it'll I don't know, we'll probably take a breather. That's quite a large candle. And then, as Bitcoin keeps pumping, we're gonna hopefully, see it going up, right? And we'll continue taking profit off the table, right? So yeah, WIF was brilliant. We've got SUI trade running as well from about $4 to 25 cents, 26 cents earlier today. You can see for WIF, we've taken quite right at the peak. I've must have pressed sell, like close, maybe 4 or 5 times. You can't see all of the closes, but that was a brilliant trade. 500. Maybe I should have set it to 20x. I'll see you next time. Now the total market cap, just to see how things are going here. So we're not quite at the all-time high. Where are we? That's another 11 or so, 12%. And then, like we discussed, I think between 5 and 6 trillion is probably the right target. Now, we've looked at WIF. So the next couple of trades, which I think sort of primed for a setup and entry, or perhaps not perfect time. This would have been a perfect time for entry down below here when Filecoin was obviously at its local bottom. Let me zoom out to a day. Yeah, so we can see we've got so Filecoin. The reason why I bring it up, it is a large market cap. We're not buying spot, we're buying leverage position with sort of 5-10x, maybe in some instances 20x long. It's at 300 million. I mean, compared, based on the performance it's had, it's very, very bullish. It's Binance were listed very soon. I think they're just timing it with the market, and you can imagine what will happen when Binance lists it, right? So it'll be back to all-time high. What was that? 2 billion. I think we'll probably see 3 to 4 billion on its next leg up. And if you run a 10-20x, that's going to be a huge 20, potentially 30x profit, right, on a short trade in a large market cap that's highly liquid. It just makes sense. And if we look at the crypto bubbles, it hasn't really pumped in the last 7 days as much as the other alts. It actually had a decent run in the last sort of 2 weeks ago, 2-3 weeks ago, but now it's taking a bit of a breather. So I think if we see it retrace to about this level, I think that would be a great entry. So that's at about $1.20, $1.10, if it gets to this level. Obviously, to get there, Bitcoin needs to retrace back. Maybe, it's like we may see a small trap down where Bitcoin goes back to about 101, around about this level, 100k. That might happen. You never know. But look, the way it's performing, I think there's a good chance it's just gonna keep going up. And what that means is this could be a good entry, right, around that level. Right here, around about this level here. So I think that's gonna the Filecoin definitely has legs with Binance listing, etc. Very bullish. So the way to sort of look at memes and see what's going to run next is to filter on. Obviously, we're looking at memes here. 24 hours, 7 days. On the 7 days, you can see all the strong performance, and these ones obviously had quite a run. So what I'd like to do is kind of filter on the 24 hour, and then we can see if we scroll down here. MOG. So MOG is a potential. Pudgy Penguins, maybe. Filecoin, that's the reason why I picked it. Turbo, maybe it's Binance listed. Trump, I think that would be a next, potentially good entry. In Pepe, see, it hasn't had as much of a run in the last 7 days as the others, so it needs to play catch up, which it will. So next one, so Brett is there on the list as well. I may have passed it somewhere here. Yeah, Brett is right there. You can see it hasn't really got pumped in the last week or so, so it's got to play catch up. And we can see it's got a decent catch up to about $2 billion, $20 cents. It's not, Binance listed, it's not Coinbase listed. So it's got a significant upside, 830 million. Let's look at Brett chart. So again, I think we can see it had a bit of a it's a similar pattern to the other coins in terms of it hit this resistance here. It's taking a bit of a breather. It's waiting for BTC to make its next big leg up and memes to continue to pump, and then I think it's going to move up here somewhere to this region. So that could be a short-term trade. Might see 35%, potentially even higher. In the single day, that's likely. That could happen under really bullish conditions. So, if you put a 10x long, that's 350%. You can 4x your entry. That's not a bad trade. And then, you can take the profits obviously off the table, let it run back to 2 billion. And then you've got if you run it back up to 2 billion from this point, what are we looking at? That's a 2x. That's crazy. Wow. That would be an amazing entry, I think. This would have been an amazing entry here. And then the other one's MOG, only 54 million, right? So it hasn't pumped as much as the others. It's not listed on Binance, any major exchanges. It's quite a bullish coin, $500 million market cap. So it is a sort of mid-size cap. So it's had a bit of a run in the last 7 days or a week ago prior, so it's due to run again. Now, the last one is, of course, Trump. Trump hasn't really had its time to shine since this huge, since it's sort of open. Solana pumped to about $280, and then it obviously crashed on tariff news. Now it's forming this bottom, and then it's primed for this type of move, right, under really bullish conditions. I think we're we're forming that bottom. It's absolutely primed for setup. And there's no resistance, there's no you don't have a chart, there's no resistance here. It'll just go straight up under really bullish conditions. If Trump was to tweet about private dinner, sit down dinner, whatever else that's coming, it will absolutely fly. There's a lot of liquidity in this. Let's have a look. 1.4 billion. At its peak it was 15 billion. I thought it was more than that, but that is a 10x. If it was to cover that ground back up again, that would be an amazing trade. So that's a perfect setup, right? So I'm only giving you large, sort of mid to large caps, highly liquid. They haven't run as hard in the last 7 days, so I think they'll be the next ones due to run. They're extremely popular. Brett on base, obviously Trump, lots of eyes on it, lots of traders monitoring, and of course Filecoin. So I think we'll be putting in trades and setups. I already opened a small loan on Brett, and I just want to see how it's going to perform, and if it starts heading up, I'm going to add to that trade, and then we'll post updates on this. All right, so that's all. I thought I'd do a sort of leverage trade on memes because it's exciting time. Things are getting more bullish. We might see retail jumping back in. Bitcoin, getting to price discovery when it gets past 108k. as potentially as early as this week, sometime this week, it could get to that level. Yeah, please like and subscribe to our channel Tech Pulse. It's Iskander here, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.